Welcome to Winterberg in Germany, a sunny Sunday afternoon in January. It's round 5 of the Viessmann FIBT four-man bobsleigh World Cup. After holding round 4 at the track here yesterday, Russian Alexander Zubkov stopped the domination of the Germans, and he'll have to try and do the same again. We're getting into the second and deciding heat. I'm Martin Haven, everybody. Alongside me is John Morgan. And John, the first heat saw the Germans, who were first and second yesterday, again leading Zubkov.
Well, the first guy we'll see is Oscar Melbardis, the best pushing team in the world, them and the team night train Steve Holcomb. But here, curve 9, they did what Steve Holcomb did yesterday. They crashed in curve 9, come back on the runners, but they don't make the second run. Disastrous day for him. Alexander Zubkov, okay, he medaled in two-man, and he upset the German sweep. And here he is, what he does well on this track. He won last year this event. Here didn't have the speed on the bottom that the German sleds had. And this young Francisco Friedrich and his team, impressive yesterday with a bronze medal finish. And then today, he comes out, and this young 22-year-old, the world champion in two-man bob, is starting to make a name for himself in four-man bobsledding. Boy, if the Germans ever needed some home cooking to get on their home tracks, this is what they needed. Maximilian Arndt, the world champion in four-man, and gives up a lot of time at the start, but he knows how to point this FES Berlin sled into a fast line on the bottom, and he was cooking. 55.02 first run. He's the leader, and it's a chance to sweep this weekend here in Winterberg.
Yeah, the two young Germans, 26, Max Arndt, 22, Francesco Friedrich, leading 37-year-old veteran Alexander Zubkov, and Thomas Florschutz in probably what is his last year, 35 years old. He is in with a shot at the medals. Fast 20 from Heat 1 go through. Lemindine will be the 20th finisher, first on the ice in Heat 2. And there were 4 sleds that did not get a second run, including Oscar's Melbardis, who crashed. There's Marco Hubenbecker. He'll be behind
Max Arndt.
Max Arndt, yeah, there's Max bouncing around. Neville Wright, one of the Canadian push athletes.
Air temperature, ice, it's really perfect conditions. The sun's out, and we don't see the sun too often. There's Martin Putza, double gold medalist in 2006 and 10 for Andre Lange.
Always see the sun with him. He's always smiling, Putza.
There's a couple of our push athletes.
There's Richard R.J. Otto.
Yeah, Archie, he won a medal with Florschutz.
Yeah, with Florschutz.
Silver medal, yeah.
Manny Mahata, incidentally, for those asking, still competing, 4th in Europa Cup standings at the moment. Lemindine then heads up our second run draw list. 20 down to 1, last to fast. Corey Butner makes the second heat today, didn't yesterday, after I hexed him out of action. Nick Cunningham goes off 6. John Jackson of Great Britain in 8th place. Beat Hefty, 8th starter rather, 12th start for Beat Hefty. He drove himself into a top 5 finish yesterday. Steve Holcomb, he was second after Heat 1 yesterday, crashed down to 20th place, looking for a redemption day today. And then the Germans will go last. 20 sleds to complete the week of action here in Winterberg in Germany. This is round 5 of the Veltins four-man bobsleigh World Cup. Lemindine, the guardsman from the British Army, ready to head up the team of GB2. It'll change up. Dave Coleman comes in at 2, new to the team this weekend. Today's race, Ben Simtek Simmons in 3rd, Andy Matthews in 4th.
Had a real hellacious ride in the bottom part of the track in the first run, but they had some problems getting in the sled here too in the first heat.
Much neater load, 5:25, slightly slower, being a little more cautious perhaps, but they get in, and John, vital they keep more of that momentum alive.
Yeah, Dean is just starting to learn how to really drive these big four-mans that we describe as a truck compared to the two-man, which drives more like a sports car. But on this track's telling everybody that the sleds are all have to drive like sports cars, because this easy track in Winterberg has been some challenge for the athletes this week.
Hear the noise from this large crowd here. Literally at fingertips distance from these sleds, doing 60, 70, up to 80 miles an hour.
Little wave, boy, he almost rolled it into 10. That was near disaster. He was fraction from rolling that right into the curve. He's through and down, and that's another hellacious ride. But these athletes collect 20th place points, move on. Their World Cup, their Olympic start will be determined by their World Cup finish points.
Well, they go into the leader's box, and they will wait for the next sled to come down. If it beats their time, they move on. If it doesn't, they stay in the lead. Look at
this, watch him. This is all that came off too early. Look at the sled. The sled wants to roll into the finish. We're into curve 10. A lot of violence in 13, 14.
Lamindine there. There's
all
no
the Twitter followers.
Yeah, follow them at Team Dean, and welcome to Dave Coleman to the lineup as well. Corey Butner now with Adam Clark, Andy Dreibel, and Chris Langton on the crew. Crashed out yesterday in Heat 1. Let's see if they can move up the order.
Start time, 5:17 in the first run. 5:16 here. Speed on the left is the big telltale sign, 63 and what, 63.3. Not bad for that start time to that velocity's not that bad. Now Corey Butner, he needs to really put a good heat in here because the Russians have just taken over our top 3 sleds in points from the U.S. The top 3 nations go to the Olympics with 3 sleds. The U.S. was the 3rd nation. Now they've fallen by the Russians, courtesy of both American sleds crashing yesterday in the first 4-man race that we held here. This is the pivotal part of the track for Corey, and he gets through cleanly. Might be his best run of the 4 in 2 days, and he'll be very happy. Good speed. Track's fast.
Very quick at the bottom, hangs it out on the finishing corner.
55, 59, they know that's a much better time. 3,400's better in the second run for Corey Butner. He'll be very happy to get Winterberg in his rearview mirror.
Yep. Well, he now gets 3 trips down the track in racing. Crashed out in the first heat yesterday. So gets the boys down safely, and that's a massive responsibility that these drivers are really feeling.
Well, especially after your crash. Look at the feet coming down, the choreography on ice. Now they must get in with the cat-like movements, let me say. Sit down, don't let the sled alter left or right. Look at the number 2 guy waiting for the number 3 to get in position. The arms come up. Okay, guys, and relax. Very easy to say, isn't it?
Easy to say. Look, Corey looking a lot more relaxed now. Sigh of relief there.
I got a little nervous. We never come out that clean before.
He's talking about curve 9.
All right, Corey Butner down and in the lead of the race. Jan Verber of the Czech Republic now. Getting ready to have his 2nd trip of the day. He, like everybody else in the 4-man, raced yesterday on this track as well. Double duty weekend. Hans de Klaske behind him, the veteran, then Dominik Suchy, Michal Vacek on the back of this Czech Republic sled.
Not bad in the first run, 5:16 start. And the key is get in, get down. Wait for number 2, get out. Okay, now the start speed, 5:20, not a very good start speed in the last 63 flat, 62.8. So they're down already to a half-kilometer speed to the United States team, who they tied basically in the first heat at the start. So the U.S. much more organized in getting in and getting the speed velocity. And there's a mistake out of curve 4 to 5. Down 1,400s, but you can find time on the bottom. But Butner had good lines down here.
Realistically, in more of a battle with Lamindine of Great Britain, they were only 700s apart after 2 heats in yesterday's race, and oh, that was close to disaster.
He almost welcomed himself to the curve 9 party, and this is some rough ride, no speed at all. He's going to fall behind maybe both sleds. Second best time of the heat, does not go behind. Corey Butner and team move up 1. They're hoping to move up a couple more. Corey Butner put a good second heat down. 3,500's better in his first heat. This sled comes down almost a half second slower than his first heat.
Yes, he does. 700s ahead of Lamindine after 2 heats yesterday. 800s ahead after 2 heats today. Corey Butner, our race leader, from Jan Verber of the Czech Republic. Lamindine 3rd, 17 still to come.
This is the hellacious ride out of curve 9. This is, if you're learning how to drive a sled, you don't want to watch these pictures because you come through 9, he drove it off too early, the back is in a skid, and watch it come at us. There we go. That's not how to do it.
Hey. Hi.
Winterberg, Germany, round 5 of the Viessmann 4-man bobsleigh World Cup. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action. 17th equal after the first heat. Jan Verber of the Czech Republic and Simone Bertazzo of Italy. Wild ride from Verber means Bertazzo has a chance to improve and take the lead from Corey Buttner of the USA.
Yeah, Buttner is 200ths behind Bertazzo in the first heat. 5:25 start. Let's watch for the velocity. Another sub 63, so Buttner has a half a kilometer of speed up here, and it doesn't sound like much, but watch this, the track's flat up here. You go uphill in this section, so that's why that start velocity is so important. Bertazzo, good driver, doesn't have the starts to compete. He's quarter second down to Buttner, which is going to be pretty tough. He's going to have, I mean, a gas pedal. He's going to have to find some way to accelerate here to get rid of that quarter a second. That wasn't the smoothest exit of 9. Now whoa, he almost went. Even one of the most experienced drivers in the field down at 13-14. He was 100 meters away from finishing. The Americans pick off somebody else. But that was almost a near crash in 13. We haven't seen any crashes in 13-14. They've all been up in 9.
Yeah, nobody gets
knocking
that far
on
yet.
wood here, folks.
The hex of the commentators has been working
all week
strong
for us.
all week, yeah.
Afraid to say anything, but Simone Bertazzo drops back 1. And now the American Corey Buttner's moved up 2. Now watch the sled come, rocket almost rolls backwards. Watch it come at us here. Watch it roll almost the other way. Look at that, all the energy, and that takes him away from the take-on. So now he's got to come straight into curve 10, and he's missed the take-on, and more steering here. 83 miles an hour. He almost lost it down in 13.
Yeah. Corey Buttner and the crew there starting to suit up now, hoping to camp out for a while in that leader's box. Will this be the man that stops them in their tracks? Gregor Baumann, 16th after the first heat for Switzerland. Absent from the scene last year. Injury kept him out for 18 months. His driving skills are still a touch rusty, and the start speed is not there either. There are your current leaders. Fooling around in leaders' box as ever.
Well, it's better to be in the leader's box than not to make the second run because you crashed. So they had a great improvement to Team Buttner.
Happy days.
Baumann, it's been plagued by crashes in North America in the first rev. Look at that, it's a big skid. Something tape came off the cowling there. Speed here is going to be 62 and change. 63.1. Now, I take that back. That's decent speed for that type of assault. 5:20 start.
They got a better start than the first heat as well.
Terrible start in the first heat. But now he's in a skid there. Green numbers. He had a 1000ths lead, a 1200ths lead on Buttner, and it's dead heat right now. And he's got decent speed at that curve, but him and Buttner on an even. Buttner was smooth down here. So we'll see if Baumann can hold on.
Well, unusually in the 2-man race, the second Swiss sled was Rico Pater. Gregor Baumann only driving the 4-man. Less ice time to get rid of those cobwebs.
They have to be perfect here. Good speed at the bottom, but I think Buttner of the United States is going to get him.
Buttner was quicker, and he holds on.
Now remember, the United States is fighting with the Russians for the top 3 designation.
Well, this is really good news for the USA. Corey Buttner, the race leader. He now moves up to potentially 16th place, knocking on the door of the top 15.
You know, and again, the country with the top points, the top 3 nations in points get 3 sleds in the games. The USA was leading the Russians, but now they're followed behind the Russians as of yesterday when they crashed 2 sleds in the competition.
Gregor Baumann here was 19th off the first heat yesterday, drove himself up into 16th. Today he's gone the other way.
Yeah, and the start here, they had good velocity, but look at the tape come off there.
So
that tape is off the helmet. That's that little foil off the helmet. I wonder if the jury will look at that. That's something in the track. And then They get into a skid here. Yeah, he's looking at the foil. And
there's Gregor.
there's
Always a cheerful man. Corey Butner, the race leader from Gregor Baumann. Simone Batazzo in third. Nick Cunningham of the USA, 15th in Winterberg, Germany, after the first of our 2 heats, race 5 of the 4-man bobsleigh World Cup. John Morgan, like his teammates, this is no time for nerves. He's got to find some more pace.
63.3 kilometers, not bad speed. This is the Night Train 1 sled. Butner, Cunningham just started driving it at the Lake Placid World Cup. In his first trip down here in Winterberg, he crashed it on Monday. The Night Train had never been crashed, and then the next day Holcomb came out and crashed the new Night Train 2. And the U.S. teams had some real struggles adjusting from that very sensitive 2-man steering in the BMW sleds, crossover to these Bodine sleds. Real challenge for these U.S. athletes, and this is the problem right here in Curve 9. Watch out. That's pretty good. Just like Butner. He figured it out. Cunningham figured it out.
Battling his teammate, he's gone behind. But one US sled will overhaul another US sled.
Does. Fourth best time, he falls 2
more
spots.
places.
So Nick Cunningham couldn't hold it on the bottom. That violent hit out of 13. And he drops down 1. That means the Swiss are in between him and Cunningham by only 0.05. Nick Cunningham not happy.
Well, he wasn't happy with his first run. He'll be less happy with the second one, John.
Well, he got through there. He crashed here earlier in the week. And this is a pretty good line. A lot of energy coming into the middle part of the curve. Not too much of a skid there. But here's where he got problems. Down there in the 13, 14. A lot of violent energy here, left to right. Watch the sled hit. Boy, that number 2 guy was hanging right out of the sled. Oh, that cost him a lot of time down there. That was a lot of loss of energy.
Well, he was the guy who had the good day yesterday. Both his teammates crashed. Today, he's had driving problems. Problems, too, for the 2 Latvian sleds. This is Oskar Kībermanis. He and his teammate, Oskars Melbardis, electrifying starters. But there's a hole in the bucket. They're not carrying their speed anywhere near down towards the bottom of the track. Sympathies from Corey Butler's crew for Johnny Quinn and the rest of the Cunningham's team.
Yeah, 1 Latvian sled, one of the best starters in the first run, crashed in Curve 9. But both these sleds have something in common. The age of the drivers.
Oh, yeah.
They're young, and these are powerful athletes.
Yep, ex-brakeman, Kībermanis just 20. Melbardis crashed out in Heat 1. Kībermanis has got to keep this together for Latvia.
In, down, quick. 508, great start. Watch the 63.6 here. 63.6 kilometers per hour. The best, that's relative to the start, and the really well-trained team that got in, get down with a reference, I say, cat-like movements. This gives the driver the chance to accelerate. Does he come straight? Not bad. 4 to 5. Now the next nemesis is into 6, right here. Into Kreisel. Can he come down the middle of the straightaway here? Ooh, they heard a little tap, the back bump. Here, pretty good into 9. He's 1700s lead, but doesn't have good speed. Those are good lines there. Let's see what it looks like on the bottom here.
Lead will come right down. It'll be down to single digits. 132.6 might not be enough.
Should be enough.
Can Corey Butner move up? No. Not quite.
So good lines by Kībermanis. Look at Sanders Preuss, the wily veteran coach of the Latvian team. He's very happy that his young 20-year-old pilot.
Yep.
This kid, watch out. He'll be in Pyeongchang, Korea. If you can put a bet down right now, this is the guy you want to put a medal on.
Latvian flags waving as ever. Big Latvian fan club travels across Europe to watch the sliding. Their bobsleigh and their skeleton athletes.
Look at the heads. 4 Gs of force in curve 10. Look at the transition here. This is 11, 12, and 13 where the sleds approach 84 miles an hour. And this is the violent hit here on the exit of 13. Look at the speed. Butner with the best speed from the United States. Kībermanis, 4th best speed. But the key is anybody who goes early in the heat has the advantage of the fresh ice. Butner did it, had a great time. He moved up 3 places.
Keeper Manis, the first of a handful of sleds covered by less than 1/10 of a second. The next up is John Jackson of Great Britain with Bruce Tasker, Craig Pickering and Joel Fearon, the crew of George, their 4-man sled.
Now
They want one good run this weekend. Is this going to be the one?
Well, they didn't have a very good first run. They had a disastrous first day in the 2-man, and he's got a skid there. Boy, a lot of movement. Speed, 62.9. Now that is a good example when I talk about the need to get the energy in the sled, sit down before that zero curve, and maximize all of what Mother Nature's going to give you for gravity on that part of the track. And they didn't do it.
Picking up speed at the start, a little with every push. Can they find a bit more pace down the track? 94.1 is half a kilometre an hour down on the fastest.
Watch him tap here. There's the tap into 9. Speed's off. What kind of line through 9:10? Safe.
Well, a whole kilometre an hour down below the Kreisel. They'll be
coming
struggling
back,
to
though.
get 132.
He's coming back.
That's good, 132.9. How close is he going to be to holding off Keeper Manis? No.
45th best. He falls back 2 spots.
Well, John, we've been saying it all week long. The gaps between the athletes, single athletes or sleds, are so close here. The blink of an eye can win or lose you 3 or 4 places.
Well, the guy today that made all the move is Corey Butner. He's gone from 19th to, I think, at least 14th.
Yep.
So John Jackson, good bottom part of the track. He had his track, his sled George moving, but no start. Mistake at the start. Here's the...
That's Joel Fearon's big arms at the back, trying to psych this team up.
Well, here they went too far. Look at the number 2 guy, still not down. Look at the back end of the sled starting to skid. Something in the track there. Look at a piece of ice.
A little bit of ice, I
But
think.
boy, they did not have good velocity compared to what the time that they had. And look at the athlete. They know it. He's limping there. This could be an injury. They raced 3 straight days. 2-man, 4-man, 4-man. They have 8 World Cup events on 7 different venues to accommodate the Olympic schedule, which on January 19th, they have to announce all the Olympic teams.
Well, that was bad news. Craig Pickering limping away. Edwin van Kalker lost his talisman, Sybren Jansmar, after the 2-man race. Bro van der Zijde, Yannick Greiner joined on the back by Arno Klassen. And again, like the British, they need to get their mojo working. They're having a horrid weekend here.
Well, you know, you talk about athletes that get in slumps at the wrong time. Well, right now, Edwin van Kalker is in a slump. He was in our TV truck last night looking for video because he says, I got to get better. My crew is injured. I don't have my best guys. Sybren is out. Sybren Johnsman's wife had a baby on New Year's Eve, but he still competed in the 2-man on Friday. But Edwin van Kalker is the first guy to admit, I got to get better. And there's a lot of Dutch media here covering the competition, and the Dutch have not done good. 2-man or 4-man, the women's team was average, and this is their home track.
Speeds aren't great. He's not going to hold his position. Keeper Manis will go in front. Will Corey Butner pick up a spot as well?
Ooh, it's late here. That's late. No, speed.
127.
That's unbelievable. How many places are they going to fall?
9
best
spots.
time.
Wow.
I'm telling you, athlete in a slump. Look at the coaches. That's his brother.
That's his brother Arnold. And Ivo Danilevich, the coach, he has gone
I'm telling you,
to the tail of the field.
I have to get better. He was telling me last night, well, I think he needs some time off. He's just an athlete in a slump, and hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks he'll be able to get rid of that. Because this is his home track.
He was hauling that off the corners, John, what they call Robin Hooding, where you're on full steering lock, one hand in front, one right back.
It's just,
look
how high he was. Look at that's airborne, that top runner, way up high. And he's late here.
Hauls it off.
Yeah,
slams the wall.
Steering.
He's in panic mode
But
here.
his speed, he was 5-6 kilometers down.
That's why.
That's like he must have had a parachute out.
The runners are sideways, almost all the way down the bottom part of the track. Horrid weekend for Edwin van Kalker. He'll be glad to get out of here and head to St. Moritz.
One of the best pilots the Dutch have ever had, too. He's very disappointed, but he's a great sportsman.
Justin Cripps of Canada at the top of the track. Tim Randall, James McNaughton, Brian Barnett. These guys' third quickest start in the first heat. They are in the 11th position.
Remember what happened to them in the first heat. They had a lot of problems. They had a lot of problems coming around this first curve in the first heat. They didn't get down. This time in, settled, 5:12 start. Little bank, 63 and change. 63.4, that's very good velocity.
Maybe a little one step shorter to ensure they get in and carry that speed and don't have dramas. They were 8th yesterday, 11th after the first heat today.
Boy, -1, there's a skid there. Not clean going into that critical part of the track. 600ths is good.
Don't forget, John, yesterday, the first run, Cripps was 6th in the field.
Yeah, he was good.
He's
the start mishap in the first heat really cost him a chance to be in the top 6 again. These are good lines by Justin Cripps.
Speed's not quite what it needs to be.
He's got enough, though, no matter what. He's going to be the leader. 133.4, 82.9 miles an hour into the finish. Fastest time of the run. Quarter of a second. Now that is what we call a good run for Justin Cripps.
Yep. He'll be happy with that. Going forward in the second heat is always better than sliding back.
If he took his first run from yesterday and this run, he would have been a top 6 performer in both races.
There you go. And that's consistency, and that comes only with experience. And he's
only 3 years into his driving program, so yeah, he'll be happy to leave Winterberg with that run. Look at the start, look at the feet coming down together. That's what I think the motion analysis tells you about powering these sleds with the 375 spikes on the bottom of those Adidas shoes. They're 1/16 of an inch. But down here, it's not about the start, it's about the driver. 83 miles an hour as he exit 13-14. Good run by the bearded Justin Cripps.
Justin Cripps, our race leader for Canada. Oscars Kibermanis in 2nd place. Corey Butner of the USA lies 3rd. We still have 10 sleds to come here in Winterberg.
Great crowd on hand. This is the site of the 2015 World Bobsled and Skeleton Championships. The 2nd time that they'll return to this track. They were here in 1995, and there was huge crowds in the pouring rain in 1995. And if they get a day like this here next year, you will see 10,000 people on this track.
There is. There are the bearded wonders that is Team Justin Cripps. I tell you what, if they get a razor out, they're going to lose about 10 kilos out of that crew's weight. Lots of fans, young and old, around this Winterberg track. Last year, glorious snow everywhere.
Been coming here since 1978. And they just made massive improvements on the track down at the finish area, expanded it all. They did that start building up there about 7 years ago. There's some veterans. Oh, I should know those guys. There's our Russian friend. He's been on tour the whole time with his wife.
Colors of Saxony there, supporting the Germans. We saw the local heroine winning in the women's race here. Sandra Kyriasis, for a decade, the benchmark in women's bobsleigh, signed off her competitive career in Winterberg in front of her home fans with a 3rd to victory drive in the 2nd heat. Some emotional way to leave them on a high, John, do you think?
That women's bobsled event, that was a preview of what's going to happen at the Olympics. I say Kyriasis is going to come down, post a good time after 3 heats, and let someone else catch her. That's what I think she wants to do, because she's got the most experience in the field. And she likes that track in Sochi. She won the pre-Olympic test there in last February.
Yeah, that could well be her last ever competitive drive. And if she walked away with another Olympic gold medal, what an end to a wonderful career that would be. Only time will tell us if she can do it. Final 10 sleds to go. Viessmann World Cup number 4 here in the 4-man bobsleigh competition. World Cup number 5, rather, in Winterberg, Germany. Martin Haven and John Morgan watching the action as young Russian Nikita Zakharov gets set to defend his top 10 finish.
This is the surprise of the field, the last couple World Cups.
10th yesterday, He would be the third Russian sled if they stay in front of the USA in team points and get that third position.
16 start in the first run. Nice, clean entry. 18
Great.
this time. And a little tap and a second tap. 63.2. Yeah, that's with that type of speed. Now he's behind Justin Cripps at the bottom. They're separated by 300ths, but the USA's got the real eye on this sled. They're hoping for some kind of mishap. They have to get ahead of him. And it's going to be pretty difficult to do that if Zakharov keeps driving lines like he just did. Now, he didn't compete in the two-man. He only got four-man trips. They had brought in another Russian pilot for the two-man competition. First time we saw him. And now he's in the green numbers, but a lot of carving in that curve, and you saw the rudder tips. And he doesn't like curve 9, but he gets through. Seems like curve 9 is tamed. Everybody's coming through there. He's got enough.
Oh, it's wild. It may not
Big
be.
speed.
Oh, good speed,
Big
yes.
speed. He'll be the leader. He got fast in the bottom. Pulled away.
Wow.
Yeah, that's... Here, Luder's knows. That's 3 sleds for the Russians. That expands their lead after this 5th World Cup. There's 3 World Cups left for the USA to get over that 3rd spot. And it's going to be tough if Zakharov keeps doing this.
He's in front of not just 1, but 2 US sleds at the moment. Nick Cunningham and Corey Butner both behind him. And Butner would be the 3rd US sled on current results if they got that 3rd spot back from Russia. So it's between Zakharov and Butner, essentially.
The line's at a curve 9. Curve 9 was a lot of problems the first 3 heats. What I'm seeing now is that finally the athletes have figured it out. Either watching all the video, watching other people crash. Down here at the bottom part of the track, Zakharov, 134 km speed. He had the best speed we've seen so far of the day. Pierre Luders, the longtime Canadian coach of the Russians now, longtime Canadian athlete who won a gold medal for Canada in '98. There's Mr. Nikita Zakharov and team.
Bert Hefty of Switzerland started his weekend in bobsleigh here in Winterberg with victory in the 2-man race. In the 4-man race yesterday, drove himself from a disappointing 9th into 5th. Hey, he was 9th in the first heat here today. Can he do it again?
Speed will be good. 63.7, the best velocity we've seen so far from this team Beat Hefty, who he really loves that 2-man more than the 4-man. And, you know, at this stage of his career, I don't think that's going to change. A couple bangs there, 4 to 5. That's not good. He can't do that, but he's got a huge lead. The only way he's not going to be the leader if he crashes in curve 9. This is way too much time for him to give away, but he's trying to give it away.
Wow. 100.8, that's not great speed.
That's not good here.
101.
That's not good there, and that's not good. But he still got it all this time.
Oh my goodness.
This sled got away from him. He was a half a second behind the sled, but he still gets to the bottom. Barely.
He's gone from 4 tenths ahead of Zakharov to just getting in by the skin of his teeth, a 10th in front.
I think this reinforces why he likes 2-man bobsled so much better than the 4-man.
Yeah, that got wild. He'll be smoother in St. Moritz next week, you betcha. Wow, you see the smile, the nervous laughter there. They got away with that by the skin of their teeth.
Here's the replay of it. Bang. And boy, this was just a never. He was behind the 8-ball the whole way, the rest of the way down the track. This is not how to do it right here.
John, that was 5 corners of ugly, but Bert Hefty still leads the race from Nikita Zakharov. Justin Cripps of Canada in 3rd spot. We have 8 sleds to come here in Winterberg. Let's hope none of them make quite so much of a hash of it as that. Coach Pierre Luders overseeing the preparations of Russia 2, Alexander Kazyanov, with Filip Egorov, Maxim Belugin, and Maxim Mokrusov as his crew. Kazyanov will be the 2nd Russian sled going to Sochi. The question is whether he can help the team get a 3rd sled in.
Well, this, to me, has been a disappointing weekend for Kazyanov. He's won a medal in 4-man bobsledding in Park City, Utah. Seems like maybe they're giving Zakharov all the best equipment to get Zakharov into a qualifying position, because Zakharov was also ran the first part of the season. If you look at the World Cup standings, he was finishing 20. I don't think he qualified in one of the World Cup races for the second run.
Well, Kasyanov has still got one of their favored Austrian-built Valna sleds. They've gone from the Singers to the Valnas. They think they're quicker through the air. 94.8 is good speed. What's he got on the exit of the Chrysler? Ooh, not great.
A lot of time here, and that's not good.
This could drop in behind teammate Zakharov for the second time.
Violent. Oh, no speed. 2 kilometers down to his teammate. How many places is he going to fall?
5 spots.
3 spots. He fell 2 spots. Looters doesn't like that. That means Kasyanov falls behind Zakharov.
But crucially for them,
they
both
got
still ahead
of both American
of the
sleds.
2 and 3 US sleds, yeah. So all 3 Russian sleds at the moment should outscore their US counterparts.
This is up top. Can't make that mistake before 8 to 9, middle part of the track. And then he comes through here after that mistake, and then that mistake compounds into this curve 9 exit. And this is how not to do it when you're trying to go fast. Watch the back end come around skidding, and the articulation of the sled maxed out and close to 80 miles an hour. And Kasyanov, you're a better driver than that.
Well, he dropped to 11th yesterday. He's no higher than 10th today. No lower, at least. Next up, Canada's Lyndon Rush, 7th after the first heat. Yesterday, he ended up tied for 8th place, but he had to drive it up from 10th after that first go.
Now we're going to start to see how experienced these teams are at the start. Watch this Canadian crew get in, get down, push bar. Ooh, but that's a little bit of a waver there, skid. 5:13 start, 63 middle. No, that skid just cost them. They should have been 63.5, 63.6 kilometers of speed, the entry speed. And now he's down by a 10th. That was reflective of the start.
They're running it a long way down past the start line, so.
Now he's going to have all he can do. Of course, now Hefty wasn't great on the bottom part of the track, so he could come back with clean lines. Is he going to hit here? That's pretty good, but he's way off the pace. He's slow. How many spots? He could fall 3 places here. He could fall behind his teammate, Justin Cripps. 24, it's going to be close.
It's getting ugly.
Speed, not that good. How many places is he going to fall? 7th best time of the run. Falls back 2 places. He nips Kasyanov by 100th of a second. Beats his teammate Cripps by 400ths. But his mistake, all you got to do is look at curve 0. First part of the track.
Another driver who'll be glad to get out of this town. I think the Russians are having the best weekend here, apart from the Germans.
Well, the start, I talked about, this is how proficient the Canadians are, the Americans, Russians, Germans. But watch here, look at the sled come to our right side of our screen, and he almost hits the wall, but watch the back end now. Look at the back ends in this skid. This is friction across the ice at a slow speed. Friction and bobsledding racing are not a good combination. They're looking at they all just saw it on the big screen. They all know what happened.
Never right on the left there. Lyndon Rush with a little smiling eyes, and at the back, Marcellus Brown not looking at all happy with that load either. The Podium bobsled, the night train of world and Olympic champions Stephen Holcomb, Kurt Tomasevich, Steve Langton, Chris Foltz and the crew, wasting no time getting underway.
5:07 in the first run. Look how quickly they're in and down. 5:07 the second run. Should be 63.6 or better. 63.8, the best start velocity of the competition. Holcomb's had problems driving up top. Watch how clean, right up here. This straightaway here and the next straightaway have been really tough for Steve. Watch right here, way too high. That's been his nemesis all week. He cannot control this sled. And of course, he crashed yesterday's competition. Very perplexing. Bang there, he's behind. Hefty now. Hefty wasn't good here. Holcomb, not very good either. But he's better than he did yesterday when he crashed there. I think Holcomb's just trying to get to the bottom and move on.
Yep.
Good speed, decent speed. Question is, how many places is he going to drop?
Could be a couple.
One.
Second place
The
by
Swiss.
100.
So Steve Holcomb drops back by 100th behind Hefty.
Yesterday, Bert Hefty drove from 9th to 6th. Today, he has driven from 9th to 6th and
this
still leads.
Well, this problem with Holcomb continues. He admits that he's having some real issues with driving the BMW steering, totally different than the new Bodine steering in this night train. There's the problem right there. He should come through there nice and smooth. You will see Max Arndt come right through that straightaway without touching anything. Here down in Curve 9, he's had problems all week. He crashed on Tuesday. He crashed yesterday in the 4-man race. And it's about consistency. Steve Holcomb is he's having a hard time adjusting to the two different steering setups between the BMW sled and the new Night Train 2.
You know what?
And this is a guy who just won 7 straight sleds.
Bert Hefty, the race leader by 100 from Stephen Holcomb, looking relieved to be down and done here in Winterberg.
Yeah, me too. Good job, guys. Really good. Very good.
Well, a little bit of laughter there at the bottom. Only Bert Hefty's run made Steve Holcomb's look good. Chris Spring of Canada. 5 sleds to go here. Race number 5 of the 4-man bobsleigh World Cup. Martin Haven, John Morgan watching the action as Canada's Chris Spring, Jesse Lambden, Cody Sorensen, and Ben Coatwell blast away from the blocks.
In, down, watch the efficiency here for this Canadian team. Great, 5:09, speed should be, ooh, little runner adjustment there, 63, 5 or 6, yep, that's good. Not as good as the Americans, but Spring has had some good heats on this track. He needs to put 2 together. That's a huge lead he's got on Hefty right now, and any kind of good line here, that's quiet. You see how quiet he was through there compared to Holcomb? Down at 8, that's rough though. Into the Kreisel part of the track. Straight here. If he taps here, he could be in trouble. He taps, down to 2. Speed not good. Gonna have to be clean down here.
Top Canadian yesterday, 7th place finish. Top Canadian at the moment, 5th after the
He's
first
still
heat.
holding on.
Pulling it back. He's
got the
less
speed.
ugly than Hefty.
He'll be the leader.
Top 5 finish for Chris Spring. They beat out Bert Hefty's team.
And they pulled away in the bottom part of the track where his mistake was made up above 8, or excuse me, above the Kreisel. Otherwise, the rest of the trip was clean. This is a good run for Canadian Chris Spring, and he stays atop of the leaderboard as the top Canadian.
The crew are absolutely pumped with that.
Here's the mistake. Watch how high the corner sucks him out, and that type of action up where the sled is not reaching full speed into the Kreisel cost him at least a 10th. That might cost him a chance to move up farther and challenge for a medal.
Springer looking happy with that. Top 5 for Chris Spring. He leads with 4 to go here in Winterberg. 3 of them are German sleds. Spring on the noise for Thomas Florschutz, the 37-year-old. Behind him, Josh Bloom, Kevin Kuska, who celebrated his birthday yesterday, and Christian Poser. Off the podium by 100th yesterday in 4th place. You think they want revenge over Alexander Zubkov? You bet they do.
Florschutz was the star of the German team after the 2010 games. Andre Lange retired. Florschutz won a silver medal in the 2-man. He was the star, but all of a sudden, these 2 young athletes from Germany, Friedrich and Arndt, have overshadowed his results, and he's Germany 3, and he's been just missing out on beating both these young Germans, and it's maybe relative to do with his age. 36 years old compared to that 21 and 25-year-old.
1300s up on Chris Spring of Canada. The green colours of Saxony on the sled. Can he drive himself into a medal?
Big lead. He had some great start. He had great start velocity, good lines on the top part of the track. And this is what you expect out of this Thomas Florschutz. He swept it.
Wild.
He swept this event. Big speed. He swept this event a couple years ago, 2 and 4. So the Canadians know they can't match that. 52-28. That's only 700 slower than his first run. That is a good run for Thomas Florschutz, the veteran, but he has to sit and wait for 3 more sleds to come down. I think he's got a chance for a medal. I think that was a great run.
What he really wants is to overturn that 300s deficit to Zubkov from the first heat and get onto the podium.
Look at the start. You got the veteran 39-year-old Kevin Kuska on the left, 6'4", 230, maybe 42 pounds, I think it is on his bio. And he has to get in. Now watch this huge man get in that sled, and then down here on the bottom, look how quiet those huge men are behind him, perfectly aerodynamic, presented. Look at the line here. This FES Berlin sled comes off and hits perfectly. Had the best speed in the finish. He's the veteran leader. Thomas Florschutz and Kevin Kuska. Bloom, the new rookie to the team. And here's another story.
Yep, Alexander Zubkov of Russia. So solid medal performances this week. Really getting to grips with this Winterberg track.
Yeah, he's been down this situation. He's not his first rodeo, this guy. He's
won this race last year. Bronze medal yesterday behind the 2 Germans that come behind him now.
Speed is going to be extremely important. 5:10 in the first run, and a great start speed. Look at how quickly they're down. 5:07, much better, very quiet. Speed in the left, 63.8, same as the United States. That's better start velocity than Florschutz. Florschutz had a great drive down the track. Zubkov's had a good weekend, winning a bronze medal in both 2-man and 4-man competitions and sort of upsetting the German sweep. He's going to need a perfect run here to match Florschutz.
Little scared, and he's not adding to his advantage. 95.1, Florschutz 101.3 on the exit.
Oh, it's coming back. 9, he's going to have to be straight, and that's not straight. So now the speed on the bottom. If he has less than 133 kilometer speed, I think Florschutz is going to catch him.
Oh, that's ugly.
There it is.
132.8.
It's going to be
very
close. Right to the 100th.
Florschutz in the medals.
3,
yes,
didn't catch him. I told you Florschutz was good. Zubkov could not match both runs. Luder's knows. Both runs, bottom part of the track, Zubkov could not carry the speed. He had problems in 9, couldn't match the speed that Florschutz had, and he had it all. He had the start velocity, he had all the time up top. He threw it away on the bottom. And that's unlike this favorite to win the gold medal in the Sochi Winter Olympics.
Well, he knew that Florschutz was coming hard, and Florschutz grabbed it away.
Yeah, right here in 9. This is where Florschutz was clean. Watch Zubkov through here. This is skidding, and this causes reduction in speed. And here, how violent does that front bunk hit? Hard. He drove that into the wall, unlike Florschutz, who came over softly.
Florschutz was pretty ugly there as well. I think it was the little skids further up. It was only 300ths difference. Germany lead, 2 more German sleds to go. Will they sweep the podium? Francesco Friedrich, the first to come. 2-man world champion, junior and senior level. Junior 4-man world champion last year. 22 years old.
This young pilot, look at the push bars. These are very different push bars. First time we've seen them on that German sled. Hard rock, coming around, speed, 63.6, not what the Zubkov just had, similar to what Thomas Florschutz had, but Florschutz had a perfect line. This is a young 22-year-old pilot who hasn't figured out these 4-mans yet, but he's been emerging the last couple races. Tap up there is gonna cost him. This is no boy, that's a huge, huge lead, good speed. If he's clean out of this straightaway here, he is. Does he tap here? No. This young German is starting to figure things out with this big 4-man, and now he's pulling away. He might challenge Max Arndt for the gold with this type of run.
Well, that's what he wants to do. There was only 300s between him and gold in the first heat. 133.5, big speed.
55.27. Wow. This, look at Jawohlmeister Christoph Langen.
Over 2/10 slower than his first run, though, John. That doesn't sound like gold to me.
He's happy, though. This is his goals. Keep beating Team Thomas Florschutz.
This racking up those medals for Germany.
This is a rising star in the German program, but we say that every year when they bring one of these guys out. This kid's got it figured out. Junior world champion in 2 and 4, senior world champion last year. He's 22 years old. We could see him for another decade. Look at the line, look at the helmets, look at the number 2 man, perfectly lined in there for aerodynamics. This line here is good. Crossover to 12-13 though. Here he is, this is okay, but boy, he was very violent on the next exit, 13-14.
You know that expression, they broke the mold when they made him? In Germany, they got a whole host of molds, and the production line, they're bringing them. And here is our race leader, our world champion in 4-man, our winner yesterday, Maximilian Arndt, with Marco Hubenbecker, Alexander Rödinger, and Martin Putzer behind him. Arndt, a veteran now at just 26 years old.
Two guys in the back, Alexander Rödinger and Martin Putzer, are veterans off Andre Longer's gold medal team in 2010. Huckenberger, the number 2 guy, is 6'7", and they put him right number 2. Look at that 6'7" frame, get in, get down behind Max Arndt, and provide that aerodynamic profile that he needs. Now, Arndt doesn't get the best speed, the best starts, he's behind now, but he definitely projects the best aero down the track. He finds a way to get more speed than anybody in the last 2 days.
It's going to be Friedrich or Arndt that win it. Will it be a clean sweep of the podium for Germany? 95.4 was good speed, and he takes the lead for the first time.
Oh, perfect lines, 10/100ths lead, good speed. Can he be cleaned? Oh, come on, that's textbook through 9 and 10.
The other 2 were ugly down at the bottom here. This corner will decide it much neater. It is going to be World Cup victory number 1 of the season for Francesco Friedrich. He wins. Max Arndt takes the win, rather. Francesco Friedrich takes second. Thomas Florschutz takes third. A massive jawohl from Christoph Langen. Germany 1-2-3. They are back. After North America, lots of people said, what's happened to the Germans? The answer is they weren't on European tracks. They know the North American tracks less well, especially the younger guys, even Arndt, and especially Francesco Friedrich. Well, there is Max Arndt, double 4-man gold. Francesco Friedrich, double 4-man silver. And Thomas Florschutz, the 4-man bronze medal today. Martin Putzer looking happy. Christoph Langen, how many times has he won as a driver on this track? Now as a coach, sweeping the podium with his boys. There's a huge Marco Hubenbecker. And here is the winning run. Well, they started 5:15 in the first heat. They knew they had to bring the A game. They did. A 5:13 start. Every 100th counts. And Max Arndt of Germany driving his bobsled into victory circle as our race winner. The policeman from Seoul near the Oberhof track, 26 years old, claims his second victory in 24 hours from Francesco Friedrich, his second silver medal, and Florschutz squeezes out Zubkov by the same 300s that Zubkov denied him by yesterday. That's what I think they call payback. Chris Spring next up, best of the rest for Canada in 5th, Ben Hefty in 6th, and Steve Holcomb, 7th place. Some redemption here in Winterberg.
Ich bin dabei gewesen.
Well, high drama at the end. Great drive from Max Arndt. Tidy in the far section, the labyrinth at the bottom of this track that caused so many problems for so many drivers. And that was the big part of his 2300ths of a second victory. Not too much to choose between most drivers on this track. And what has been a wet and rainy week is turning into a fairly nice afternoon for the last day of the school holidays here in Winterberg in Germany. Wherever you're watching, I hope you've enjoyed your Christmas and New Year break. Athletes was considerably shorter and back in World Cup action now. The hurry-up offense continues. Most of the field have already hit the road to head to St. Moritz in Switzerland. Training begins Monday morning for the skeleton and Tuesday for the bobsledders. Of course, we'll be bringing you all the action from the St. Moritz weekend. Double duty for men's skeleton there to make up for the travel week that gets lost between North America and Europe. Weekend after, we go to Eagles, Austria, just outside the Olympic city of Innsbruck. And then the final race weekend of the regular season, and that will be by which stage all places for the Olympics will have been decided, and that will be the final dress rehearsal in Königssee in Bavaria, the oldest artificial ice track on the planet. And then those selected, those fortunate, those fast enough to go to Sochi will head to the Sankey Sliding Centre, about an hour or so by train, 2 hours by car out of Sochi, up in the mountains for the Winter Olympic Games of the 22nd Olympiad. And that will be the opportunity for some of these athletes to say maybe a final hurrah on a big high. Time now to hear for the last time from everybody down here in Winterberg. Winterberg, Germany, 5th stop on the FIBT four-man bobsleigh World Cup Tour. Max Arndt, 2 gold medals this weekend, consolidating his lead over Alexander Zubkov. Stephen Holcomb still 3rd, despite crashing out of the points lead yesterday. Chris Spring 4th for Canada, Thomas Florschutz in 5th position. John Jackson of Great Britain in 10th position, despite a torrid weekend here. Nikita Zakharov of Russia in 11th spot. Tough times though for Nick Cunningham and Corey Butner, slipping to 16th and 18 in points, as both have had disappointing days, as Steve Holcomb, their team leader, did. Well, flower ceremony presenting the awards to our top 3 teams, all wearing the German team yellow. And of course, here the big flask of Veltin's beer also gets presented. And with these bobsled crews, that may disappear before the track workers get to it. Well, Max Arndt, fantastic victory here in Winterberg. Big, strong start from the crew. Marco Hubenbecker, Alex Rödinger and Martin Putzer put him right in contention. But it was the drive that separated Max Arndt from his rivals and his teammates down here at the bottom of the track, making far less errors, carrying the speed to take the victory by 1/4 of a second and to delight his coach by sweeping the podium. Well, yesterday Arndt won by 1700ths over Friedrich, added nearly another 1/10 of a second to that today with a bit more experience. Let's get down and join John Morgan and hear from our top 3.
Thomas Florschutz, bronze medal today. Happy with the road?
Ich bin froh, dass wir endlich aufs Podest gefahren sind. Selber in der Hand. Gestern Fehler, heute wieder Fehler. Es gibt noch viel zu tun, aber wir haben wenigstens jetzt endlich mal das Podest geschafft und wir können, glaube ich, froh und glücklich sein.
Well, obviously he's very happy to be on the podium, but there's a lot more work to do. But hey, first medal for this guy.
Yeah.
Huh? Congratulations. Okay, now we go Team Friedrich. Boy, starting to learn how to drive a four-man bob, huh?
Yeah, we had a good day, but Max was today the best, and so we were second. Yeah, thanks.
Good weekend for you too. Congratulations. Hey, Max, boy, is this your favorite track? I mean, you were on a rail both runs. Perfect speeds.
Yes, I like this track. Which weather like this, then it's perfect. It's fast, make fun. We have really good days. 2 days, 2 wins. We are really happy, and today we take a little bit to drink and go a little bit to relaxing.
Well, go to St. Moritz and enjoy, gentlemen. Congratulations.
Congratulations indeed to all 3 crews, Max Arndt and his team, Francesco Friedrich and Thomas Florschutz with their four-mans sweeping the podium for Germany. Alexander Zubkov in 4th place took the bronze yesterday, couldn't get in there. Florschutz said he was so thrilled to be on the podium after losing out by such a tiny margin yesterday. Well, thanks to John Morgan, thanks to the FIBT TV crew for all their hard work and thoughts today. Thanks to you for joining us. We'll be back with lots more race action from St. Moritz, Switzerland, the Monaco of ice sliding next weekend. Till then, from me, Martin Haven, goodbye for now. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.